Hi yogis, welcome back. This is going to be session 5, part of our 8-week group program for helping those with symptoms of PTSD. So our class today is going to be focusing on practicing some of our standing warrior poses, and we're also going to be practicing a few heart openers. So this kind of goes hand in hand with anxiety and that freeze response where maybe we're feeling really tight and tense. Emotions wise, we might have some fear, anxiety, panic feelings. So often it can be helpful to get into your body and move to channel out some of that energy. So that's the intention for today. So let's get right into it. We're going to start our practice in seated. And again, I do have some props here, and at home, you might like to grab a few couch pillows or bed pillows for any seated postures. And as always, being a trauma-sensitive class, this is always invitational. So you can choose to stop the practice at any time if it becomes too uncomfortable. And you can choose to modify. You may choose to go into your own posture, maybe back to one of the home base ones. If a posture I'm introducing just isn't working for you, there's always options, your body, and you can choose what you do with it. Okay, so coming into seated, I'm going to choose to have crossed legs. You can choose whatever seated posture feels good in your body. And just inviting you to begin with just sitting with a little bit of length through your spine. So just energetically, just a gentle lifting up from the pelvis, a gentle tuck of your chin. And you can choose, I'm going to place my hands palms down on my knees. You could choose to turn them face up. And we just get physically here first. So just sitting for a moment. You may choose to use a drishti point with gaze just gently down at the floor, or you could choose to close your eyes. So just settling in, beginning to maybe notice your breath. Let's take 3 breaths here. And let that go. So as you're ready, we can start to introduce a little neck stretch. So just taking the right cheek toward the right shoulder. And you might just sense a little bit of a stretch through the left side of your neck. If it feels okay, you can draw the left shoulder away from your left ear. On your next breath in, just gently bringing your head back up to center, maybe a little bit of shoulder roll. So the idea is to start to pair movement with breath. So we have a sense of connection between our breathing and the movements we make. So let's take a breath in. Breathe out. We'll gently take the neck stretch to the other side. And again, just sensing that little bit of a stretch now through the right side of your neck. Take about 3 breaths. Beautiful. On your next breath in, lift your neck slowly back up. Okay, and from here, we'll tuck the chin. So now strengthening or lengthening the back of your neck. And just see if you can breathe a little deeper into whatever sensation is happening in the back of the neck. Breathe out. And then your inhale slowly lifts the neck back up. Moving gently, maybe another shoulder roll. So practicing just having that connection with movement and breath. So from here, we'll take a seated cat-cow. So you'll take both arms and we'll cactus them at 90 degrees. And just even here, notice if you can just gently squeeze the shoulder blades together, and that's going to open for your heart. You might choose to lift your gaze slightly as well. Let's take a big breath in. And then on your breath out, you're going to draw your elbows together, tuck your chin, and round through your back. Moving with breath, inhale, open back up, gently squeeze through the shoulder blades. Maybe lift your gaze. Breathe in. Again, contract as you breathe out. Let's do that a few times. Breathing in, open up. Two more times. I'm pulling my belly button in here. One more big breath. Squeeze and lift. Exhale, contract. Draw those arms together. And then just back to neutral. Always nice. Just noticing the shoulders. There's tension. So we'll transition to tabletop from here. If you have any props in use, just gently move them aside. Coming into our hands and knees position. So just notice we want to have connection through our foundation, which right now is through all 10 fingers, your knees, and tops of your feet. So spread those fingers nice and wide, and see if you can press into your index finger and thumb. And that's going to help to channel energy through the inside of the arm and take some weight out of the wrists. So let's start, just explore here. Maybe take a little hip bumps from right to left. And maybe you pair breath with that. So an inhale, shifting to the right. Exhale, shift to the left. If you'd like, you could try some hip circles. So this way you'd press your hips back toward the heels, rotate around, and come forward. Just exploring, see what sensations may show up. You might get a few cracks happening through the joints. That's okay. Takes 2 more circles if you'd like. And then we'll come back to neutral spine and a couple rounds of cat-cow here as well. So drop your belly, lift your tail, lift your gaze, take a breath. And then exhale, contract, chin to chest, and press the floor away. Inhale, drop and lift. Exhale, curl and round. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then we'll get ready. We'll move into downward facing dog. I'm going to take off my socks. If you haven't already, you might like to. Just gives you a little extra grip. So from tabletop, we'll curl those toes and then take a breath in. And exhale, lift the hips up and back. Drop your head. So notice your foundation Here is your hands and your feet. So again, pressing through all 10 fingers, especially index finger and thumb. Arms are very straight, so you press the floor away, release your neck, drop your head. And then imagine you can pull your hips up to the sky. You can certainly have a little bend in the knees. Press your chest toward your thighs. And then you might like to just take a little pedal, so straighten one leg, bend the other, working out any kinks. Let's take 3 breaths here in your down dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. If you'd like, you can come onto your tippy toes. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and step to the top of your mat. We'll take a halfway lift here. So just draw your hands up to your shins, press your thighs behind you, and your gaze point is just down at the floor, so the neck is long. And we'll do a few sun breaths here. Breathe in, and then forward fold, breathe out. Again, you notice my knees are nice and bent here, just warming up. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Press down through your feet, and we'll come all the way up to tall mountain. Reach up. Hands come to your heart. Feel your feet on the floor. When you're ready, breathe in. Reach tall. Fold forward. Breathe out. Inhale, halfway lift. Fold forward. Press down, reach up. Hands to your heart. So again, we're just practicing moving with our breath, having a connection there between moving with the inhale, moving with the exhale. Let's do one more sun breath. Breathe in, reach up tall. Forward fold, exhale. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Press down, reach up, nice and tall. Breathe in. Hands come to your heart. Okay. So we'll move through our sequence of Sun A from here. So as you're ready, feel your feet. Breathe in, reach up. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Halfway lift, press your thighs behind you. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, and you can either be in plank pose or into a tabletop position. If you're in plank, a little bit more strength is needed. So arms press the floor away, squeeze the legs together, heels press behind you. Take a breath here. And then everybody, we're gonna lower down to your belly, uncurl the toes, hands under shoulders. Inhale, little cobra. Exhale through tabletop, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel your hands. Feel your feet. If you'd like, tippy toes, inhale. Exhale, bend, look forward, and step to the front. On a breath in, halfway lift. Breathe out, forward fold. Press down and reach up, tall mountain. Hands come to your heart. Taking a pause, just being aware of the energy moving throughout your body. Let's go through that sequence again for our Sun A. When you're ready, breathe in. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Plant the hands, step back to either plank or tabletop. Press the floor away, pull your belly button in toward your spine, breathe in, and lower down to your belly. Hug the elbows in, and when you're ready, cobra, lift chin and chest. Exhale through table, downward facing dog. Release the head. Big breath in. Melt your chest toward your thighs. If you'd like, tippy toes. Bend and look forward. Step to the front. When you're there, halfway lift. Breathe out, forward fold. Press down, rise up. Hands overhead, and exhale, heart center. Okay, so from here, we're going to move through a couple of our warrior stances, giving us a sense of agency within our bodies. These are big, solid, strong poses. So we're going to start with a warrior one. So when you're ready, you're going to step the right leg back. And we want the back foot to be at a 45-degree angle. So we're able to turn the hips to face kind of over the front thigh. And then lunging into the front leg. Options for your hands can just be down by your sides. You can bring your hands to your hips. You can have hands at heart center. Or full extension, we're going to reach the arms up overhead. So pressing out through the back edge of your foot, lunging into that front leg. And if we look, we want the knee to be right over your ankle. So not lunging too deep, but having a nice alignment there with knee over your ankle. So you're reaching, if your hands are up, energy through the fingertips, pinkies in front, thumbs behind you, and then see if you can settle the shoulders down. Relax your neck. Take 3 breaths. Big breath here. And then we're going to come into warrior two. So open your arms, and then we have the back foot now is parallel with the short edge of your mat. Still lunging into that front leg. And just notice the knee may want to collapse in. Just see if you can keep it so the knee is out over your second toe. So this leg is working now. Press out through this back leg and then open up through your arms. So gaze point now is down your middle finger. Let's take 3 breaths here in your warrior two. Big breath. Let's flip the front palm, reverse your warrior. Left hand goes up, right hand down. And then both hands, take them to the floor and step back either to tabletop or maybe plank pose. Take a big breath here and then lower down to your belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, tabletop or downward facing dog. Take a breath. Let it go. Inhale, tippy toes. Bend your knees, look forward, and step to the front. Halfway lift. Breathe out, forward fold. Press down, reach all the way up. Hands to your heart. We'll try that on the other side. So warrior one, left leg, we step it back. So with our alignment here, again, the back foot is at a 45-degree angle, and you should be able to draw a line from heel to heel. That tells you your legs are in the right place. Lunging into that front leg, and then hand options just down by your side, at hips or heart. If you want, full extension, inhale, reach those fingertips up. Let's breathe for 3. Big breath. And then we'll open up, find warrior two. So pivot and plant that back foot, pressing it out so it's parallel with the short edge of your mat. Check down, make sure your knee is not caved in. It's pointed out over that second big toe. So foundation is set. And then arms coming out from the shoulders. Energy in those fingers. Gaze point down the middle finger. 3 breaths. Flip that front palm, reverse your warrior. And then both hands come down to the floor. Step back, tabletop or plank pose. Breathe in and lower down. Uncurl your toes, cobra, breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. When you're ready, if you want, tippy toes, bend your knees and look. Step to the front. Halfway lift, hands up your shins. Breathe out, forward fold. Inhale, reach it up. Hands to your heart. Okay, so we've got one more sequence to go through with our standing postures. So let's find our warrior one, right leg step back. 45-degree angle. Inhale, maybe hands come up, or another variation that works for you. Take a breath here. Find warrior two. Pivot and plant that back foot. Arms reach out from the shoulders. Lunge into that front leg. Let's reverse the warrior. Inhale. And side angle. So front arm rests now on the front knee. Options, hand can be at your hip, or maybe extend that arm, reach it up to the sky. Breathing here for 3. For 2. Your neck can be down. Last breath. And then hands to the floor. Let's let that one go. Step back to tabletop or plank pose. Lower down to your belly. Cobra, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Breathe it out. 3 breaths. This could also be tabletop. Tippy toes if you want. Bend and look. Step forward. Halfway lift. Exhale it out. Tall mountain, reach up. Hands to your heart. Let's try that on the other side. Warrior one, left leg steps back. 45, upper body turns to the front of the mat. 3 breaths. Find warrior two. Open up the arms. Press out through the back foot. Breathing here. You are strong, using up that energy. Reverse your warrior. Side angle. Right elbow comes to the top of that right knee. And then choose your arms. And again, for your neck, gaze can be down at the floor. Trying to see if the knee can stay right on top of your ankle. Breathing here for 3. For 2. Last breath here. Hands to the floor. And then we'll lower down to our belly. Inhale, cobra. And downward facing dog or tabletop. Big breath in. Tippy toes. Bend your knees, look forward. And step to the front of your mat. Halfway lift. Breathing out. Press down and then reach all the way up. Hands to your heart. From here, we're going to work with a balancing pose, and we call it Warrior 3. So hands on heart, feel your feet, and then see if you can start to take the right foot and lift it off the floor. So we call this a knee to chest variation. And then we're going to start to kick the right foot back. And again, option 1 variation would just be like so. So the toe is still on the floor. From here, you can try to float that right foot up and balance on that left leg. And you can decide, right, wobbling is totally normal. The idea is just to start to get a sense of balance in that left leg. Full extension might be trying to straighten through the standing leg and lift the right heel a little higher off the floor. Take a couple of breaths wherever you are. Gaze point is just down at your mat. And let's float the right foot back down to the ground. Bringing both feet together once again. And what we do on one side, we have to do on the other for a balanced practice. So grounding down through that right foot now. Seeing if we can take a little knee to chest, lifting the left toes up. And then start to hinge and kick that left foot behind you, starting maybe with toes on the mat, feeling out that balance, gaze just at the floor. And then you can just experiment. See if you can start to straighten through that standing leg, press the left foot out behind you. Maybe imagine you're standing against a wall, pressing out as much as you can. Couple of breaths wherever you are. And gently, you can bring that left foot back to the ground. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees this time, bringing the knees all the way down to the ground. And from here, we're going to start to slow down the practice, and we're going to come into supported fish. So at home, if you have a blanket, you're going to do making a nice kind of like a cylinder, just by rolling up a blanket, something like this, placing it out behind you. If you don't have a blanket, you could even just use a pillow and lay it along the length of your spine. So the legs will come out long. Just wanting to have a little bit of elevation, lifting your heart and your chest. Hands just can be down by your sides. Head should be supported. And just letting things slow down. Seeing if you can just be aware of your breath. If your mind wanders off in thought, our job is simply to notice that it's wandered off into thinking, and then bring your attention back, maybe to the tip of your nose, and catch this next breath. Trying to let the body be a bit heavier now. Resting on the floor, resting on the props. Letting go of the effort that was needed in those standing postures. Just letting the ground hold you here. And breathing here for about 10 breaths. If it helps, you can count down the next 5 breaths. Last breath in. Breathe it out. And then we'll slowly transition coming out of this pose. You might like to take one hand and help the neck just bring chin to chest, and press the floor away, pulling your body up. We're just going to turn over into tabletop. Just move aside any props that you might have. And we're going to take puppy stretch or puppy pose from here. So the legs stay the same with the hips over the knees. And you'll simply start to walk the upper body forward and then bringing the forehead to the floor. So this is a pretty big stretch for the upper body. If it feels too intense, you can bring something and place it underneath the forehead to bring the floor to you. And you can also bend through the arms if it feels really, really intense for your shoulders or for the chest. So the idea is just to feel some kind of stretch under the armpits, across the shoulders, and in the chest area. And we want to have about, a medium amount of sensation here. So not too extreme, nothing painful. So just easing off so that you can choose to stay. And deepening your breath if there is sensation present. Sending your breath to the areas that are tight and stretching. Let's stay for 5 breaths here. Or, of course, if you want to come out early, that's an act of self-care. Please do that if you need to. Big breath in. And breathe it out. And then slowly start to bring the arms back in toward your body. And we'll take child's pose. So the option to keep the knees together, or you might choose to widen the knees. Your big toes should be touching. And then we'll just hinge forward. And again, the same thing applies here. If it feels like a big, big stretch, please modify by adding a pillow under your head or even in between the glutes and the heels. So settling in here. Just practicing, again, being the observer. Can you just be present, watching the breath in and out? So option just to stay just like this. If you'd like, You can walk the fingertips over to the right, just bringing in a little side body stretch here. Option to take the right hand and place it on the low back, and then breathing into your left rib cage for 10. Big breath in. That right arm is behind you, bring it back out, and then we'll take it to the other side. Only if you want. Fingertips walk to the left, placing the forehead back down. Breathing now into the right ribs, right side body. And the option to take the left hand to the low back. Just breathing here. Just 5 breaths to go. And bring that left hand down, walking the fingertips back through the center. With a breath in, let's slowly press ourselves up into tabletop. And then we'll drop our hips down to the floor. And we'll take reclined butterfly. So you can bring the soles of your feet together, let the knees fall wide. And you can decide, having the legs out farther away makes it a less intense stretch. If you draw your heels in toward your body, it'll be a bigger stretch for the inner thighs. So if you'd like, you could recline onto your back. You can choose the arm position. Sometimes it feels nice to place the hands on your belly. If you're looking for a little bit of a chest opener, chest stretch, you can take the hands up overhead. And again, you can refocus the attention by placing it at the tip of your nose or being mindful and just feeling the belly rise on the in-breath and fall on the out-breath. Feel nice to gently just rock your head from side to side. And take 5 breaths. Full attention on your last 3. And just slowly come out. It might be helpful to just gently help the knees come back together, plant your feet on the floor. And you can gently maybe bring the knees in toward the body and release that with a gentle rock from side to side. And we'll take a little laying twist. So open your arms up, plant your feet, take the hips a little to the left, and then just gently let the knees fall to the right. So we want to be twisting from belly button down, the chest is still facing the sky, and your shoulder, left shoulder, is still planted on the floor. Breathing into the low belly. This is a really healthy posture to take to keep the low back mobile and healthy. And on your next breath, let's bring the knees back up. Switch sides. Just let the knees now fall to the left. You might take your left hand and place it on top of your thighs there as a little assist. Breathing into that low belly for 3 to 4 breaths. And we'll let that go. Inhale, let's bring the knees back up. Square your hips. And one more little hug. Bring the knees in. You can rock a little if it feels good. A little massage for your back. And we'll make our way into Shavasana. You are welcome to just add any extra layers. We want to make sure that we're comfortable and cozy when we take our final resting pose. So I always like to put my socks back on. If you have a blanket, feel free to grab the blanket and cover yourself up. And maybe having a pillow under the head. Again, part of the recovery process after trauma is learning that we have choices and we can do things to take care of ourselves in the here and now. So small choices, if you find it would be nice and comfortable to be covered up, you can choose to do so. It's your body. So just settling in, taking up a little space. Just try to let the legs relax, let the feet flop. And again, drishti, or your gaze, can be at your third eye, the space between the eyebrows, or you could experiment with closing the eyes gently. Just letting the breath come to being a natural breath. And just resting here for 2 to 3 minutes. No expectations, nothing else we need to do but breathe. You can feel free, just begin to deepen your breath. Slowly starting the reawakening, adding a little bit of movement to toes and fingers. Again, it might feel good. Just gently take the head a little from side to side. You can bend through the legs, planting the feet. It could feel nice to take a little stretch through the upper body. No rush. And just when you're ready, making your way over onto one side. And when it feels right, you can press yourself up to coming into a seated position. Just like we started, choosing to sit with a little elevation, lengthening through the spine. Let's bring our hands to our hearts, a gentle tuck of the chin. And you can help me close our practice with one chant of Om. So take a deep breath in, breathe out, deeper breath, and Namaste. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. So thank you so much for joining us for our class 5 today, and we look forward to seeing you back on your mats for next time.